In the midst of a heavy downpour, when the wind was howling through the treetops and thunder rumbled in the distance, I saw it. A tiny creature desperately clinging to a slender branch, soaked through, trembling with every heartbeat. Its delicate fur was matted against its skin, and its tiny eyes were just barely open, as though it was fighting against the bone-chilling cold. Around there was no sign of a nest, nor any trace of its mother. There was only the relentless rain, the howling wind, and a fragile little body trembling, clinging to a faint hope. In that moment, my heart tightened. I knew that if I did nothing, this rainstorm could be the last time it ever saw the morning light, and I decided I would not let that happen. I took every step so slowly, trying to keep my movements from drowning out the sound of the rain. I feared that even one sudden movement could startle it, causing it to slip from that fragile branch. But as I drew closer, I realized it did not respond. Its small eyes remained half-closed, its tiny body curled in to preserve the last bit of warmth. It had no strength to escape, no energy to resist, just silence, surrendering itself to the cold raindrops beating upon it. I gently extended my hand. My fingers chilled from the rain, but I tried to shield it so the water would not drip onto its body. When my hand touched the wet fur, I could feel its little heart beating at an unusual pace, both from the cold and the fear. I took out a soft cloth that I always carry in my bag, unfolded it, and wrapped it around it, slowly and carefully, as though I were cradling something so fragile that even the slightest misstep might shatter it. In my arms, it felt weightless enough to choke me up, so tiny a being, abandoned in this vast and harsh world. I drew the cloth closer to my body, holding it against my chest to share what little warmth I had. Its body continued to tremble, small shakes that came in succession, as though telling me how utterly exhausted it was. I hurried home, each step weighed down with worry. In my mind, I kept repeating one question: will I make it in time? Will it survive? The rain still fell relentlessly, and all I could do was hold it tighter, hoping that even a small spark of hope would not be extinguished. As soon as I arrived home, I looked for a quiet, dry corner to place it. A cardboard box lined with several layers of soft cloth became a temporary refuge for this tiny life. I gently unwrapped the cloth, afraid that any rough movement could hurt it. Its soaking wet fur remained matted to its skin, tiny droplets falling onto the cloth. It lay motionless, its eyes still closed, occasionally trembling slightly in response to the lingering cold. I took a dry terry cloth towel and patiently wiped its fur, starting from its tiny head down to its little paws. Each time the towel touched it, its body trembled slightly, but I knew I had to continue. Every second was critical. As the fur began to dry, I placed a small bottle of warm water wrapped in a cloth next to it, like a gentle heating source. I prepared a small bottle of milk, specially made for baby animals. At first, when I touched the nipple to its mouth, it did not react. Its tiny mouth remained tightly shut, as if it had no strength to open. I tried again and again, still no success. A wave of worry washed over me. If it did not drink, its strength would quickly deplete. But then, when I moved the bottle closer, something small happened. Its sweet little head wiggled, its trembling lips gently parted, and its tongue touched the tip of the bottle. I held my hand very steady, not wanting to lose this opportunity. The first drop of milk entered its mouth, and like magic, it began to swallow. Slowly, weakly, but each swallow was a spark of hope being ignited. Watching it drink, little by little, my eyes blurred with tears. In that moment, I realized, sometimes, just a small chance is enough for life to find a way to hold on, and I would do everything to keep that chance alive. In those early days, it slept more than it was awake. Each time it woke, the first thing I did was offer the bottle of milk again. At first, it only managed a few sips, but little by little, the number of swallows increased. Its eyes opened wider, and its little tail started to wiggle whenever I approached. After a few days, its fur had completely dried and was beginning to fluff up, soft like a little cloud. Its golden brown color in the morning light made me smile every time I saw it. It began to lift its head on its own, its small ears twitching at sounds. Its previously sad and tired eyes now shined brighter, filled with curiosity about everything around. I put a few small branches into the box so it could practice climbing. At first its movements were clumsy, but after just one morning, it learned to grip tighter, climbing up and then jumping down. Sometimes it paused midway, looking up at me as if waiting for a word of encouragement. And of course I was always there, nodding gently and smiling. Every afternoon, I cracked open the window so it could smell the breeze and hear the rustle of leaves. The first time, it stretched out its body, its little nose twitching, taking a deep breath as if storing the scent of nature. In the following days, it grew more energetic, running around the box, clutching my hand, then crawling into the cloth to rest. Every tiny little cheep cheep sound it made felt like a silent thank you. I could feel that this small life was not only recovering physically, but also learning to trust the world again, a world where it had once been abandoned in the storm. Seeing it grow stronger each day, I knew the moment to say goodbye would come soon. But for now, all I wanted was to give it more beautiful memories, more days of love and protection, before it returned to the wild where it truly belonged. That morning, sunlight streamed through the window and softly lit the corner of the room where it lay. I placed the bottle down as usual, but this time, instead of staying where it was, it slowly moved toward me. Its eyes shone unusually bright, curious yet warm. I sat quietly, waiting to see what would happen. It took another step, then suddenly jumped onto my hand. At first, my hand froze in surprise, but then I stayed still, afraid that even a small movement might make it change its mind. It settled down in the palm of my hand, its little tail splayed out, its tiny feet lightly gripping my skin. We looked at each other. In those eyes, I no longer saw fear or caution like in the early days. Instead, I saw reassurance, a full trust. I could feel its warmth against me, not just physical warmth, but the warmth that comes from trust. I gently stroked along its back with my finger. It did not shy away. It even half closed its eyes, as though enjoying the moment. Soft, cheep sounds followed, as if whispering, "I know I am safe." At that moment, all the efforts, every anxious night, every time I feared I might lose it, they all felt worth it. I realized that sometimes the greatest gift we can give a living being is not food or shelter, but the feeling of being trusted and loved. Just a few brief minutes, but that moment etched into my memory as a reminder that love, even when small, can heal the deepest wounds in the soul. Finally, the day came. The day I knew I must let it go back to where it belonged. That morning, the sky was clear, sunlight gently dusting the leaves. I placed it in a small basket lined with a soft cloth. Then we set off together toward the forest near my home. With each step, I felt both pride and a heavy heart. When we reached a large tree, I opened the basket. It hesitated for a moment, its eyes scanning the surroundings as if trying to memorize the new scene. Then suddenly, it climbed onto my hand as if wanting to say goodbye. I stood there, letting it feel the breeze, hear the birdsong, and breathe deeply the scent of the forest. Just a few seconds later, it stretched, jumped onto the tree trunk, its little claws gripping the bark. It climbed quickly, then stopped on a higher branch. In that moment, it turned to look down, its eyes reflecting the sunlight. I did not know whether that was a farewell, a thank you, or simply a final curiosity. But I knew I would never forget that look. Then it disappeared among the green leaves. I stood quietly for a long while, listening to the rustling leaves blending with the wind. In my heart, a reminder echoed. Sometimes, even a small act of kindness is enough to change a life. On the way home, I realized I had not only saved a baby squirrel, but it had also taught me a lesson about patience, trust, and the power of love.